Boing. Holy crap. (4E-174), the sack of the Imperial City.
In 4E-174, the Thalmor leadership committed all available forces to the campaign in Cyrodiil, gambling on a decisive victory to end the war once and for all. During the spring, Aldmeri reinforcements gathered in southern Cyrodiil, and on 12th of 2nd Seed, they launched a massive assault on the Imperial City itself. One army drove north to completely surround the city, while Lord Nerafin's main force attacked the walls from the south, east, and west. The Emperor's decision to fight his way out of the city rather than make a last stand was a bold one. No general dared advise him to abandon the capital, but Titus II was proven right in the end. While the 8th Legion fought a desperate and doomed rearguard action on the walls of the city, Titus II broke out of the city to the north with his main army, smashing through the surrounding Aldmeri forces and linking up with reinforcements marching south from Skyrim under General Jonah. Meanwhile, however, the capital fell to the invaders, and the infamous sack of the Imperial City began. The Imperial Palace was burned, the White Gold Tower itself looted, and all manner of atrocities carried out by the vengeful elves on the innocent populace. In Hammerfell, General Justianus was preparing to drive the Aldmeri back from Skaven when he was ordered to march for Cyrodiil. Unwilling to abandon Hammerfell completely, he allowed a great number of invalids to be discharged from the legions before they marched east. These veterans formed the core of the army that eventually drove Lady Aranella's forces back across the Alkir late in 174, taking heavy losses on their retreat from the harassing attacks by the Alkir warriors.
4E-175, the Battle of the Red Ring.
During the winter of 4E-174 through 175, the Thalmor seemed to have believed that the war in Cyrodiil was all but over. They made several attempts to negotiate with Titus II. The Emperor encouraged them in their belief that he was preparing to surrender. Meanwhile, he gathered his forces to retake the Imperial City, in what is now known as the Battle of the Red Ring, a battle that will serve as a model for Imperial strategists for generations to come. Titus II divided his forces into three. One army, with the legions from Hammerfell under General Justianus, was hidden in the Colovian highlands near Chorrol. The Aldmeri were unaware that he was no longer in Hammerfell, possibly because the Imperial veterans Justianus had left behind led Lady Aranella to believe that she still faced an Imperial army. The second army, largely of Nord legions under General Jonah, took up position near Shadenhall. The main army was commanded by the Emperor himself and would undertake the main assault of the Imperial City from the north. 30th of Rain's Hand, the bloody Battle of the Red Ring began as General Justianus swept down on the city from the west, while General Jonah's legionaries drove south along the Red Ring Road. In a 2-day assault, Jonah's armies crossed the Niben and advanced west, attempting to link up with Justianus's legions and thus surround the Imperial City. Lord Nerafin was taken by surprise by Justianus's assault, but Jonah's troops faced bitter resistance as the Aldmeri counterattacked from Bavil and Skingrad. The heroic Nord legionaries held firm, however, beating off the piecemeal Aldmeri attacks. By the 5th day of the battle, the Aldmeri army in the Imperial City was surrounded. Titus II led the assault from the north, personally, capturing Lord Nerafin. It is rumored the Emperor wielded the famed sword Goldbrand, although this has never been officially confirmed by the Imperial government. An attempt by the Aldmeri to break out of the city to the south was blocked by the unbreakable shield wall of General Jonah's battered legions. In the end, the main Aldmeri army in Cyrodiil was completely destroyed. The Emperor's decision to withdraw from the Imperial City in 4E-174 was bloodily vindicated. Lord Nerafin was kept alive for 33 days, hanging from the White Gold Tower. It is not recorded where his body was buried, if it was buried at all. One source claims he was carried off by a winged Daedra on the 34th day.
The White Gold Concordat and the end of the war.
Although victorious, the Imperial armies were in no shape to continue the war. The entire remaining Imperial force was gathered in Cyrodiil, exhausted and decimated by the Battle of the Red Ring. Not a single legion had more than half its soldiers fit for duty. 2 legions had been effectively annihilated, not counting the loss of the 8th during the retreat from the Imperial city the previous year. Titus II knew that there would be no better time to negotiate peace, and late in 4E 175, the Empire and the Aldmeri Dominion signed the White Gold Concordat, ending the Great War. The terms were harsh, but Titus II believed that it was necessary to secure peace and give the Empire a chance to regain its strength. The 2 most controversial terms of the Concordat were the banning of the worship of Talos and the cession of a large section of southern Hammerfell, most of what was already occupied by Aldmeri forces. Critics have pointed out that the Concordat is almost identical to the ultimatum the Emperor rejected 5 years earlier. However, there is a great difference between agreeing to such terms under the mere threat of war and agreeing to them at the end of a long and destructive war. No part of the Empire would have accepted these terms in 4E 171, dictated by the Thalmor at Sword's Point. Titus II would have faced civil war. By 4E 175, most of the Empire welcomed peace at almost any price.
Epilogue. Hammerfell fights on alone.
Hammerfell, however, refused to accept the White Gold Concordat, being unwilling to concede defeat and the loss of so much of their territory. Titus II was forced to officially renounce Hammerfell as an imperial province in order to preserve the hard-won peace treaty. The Red Guards, understandably, looked on this as a betrayal. In this, the Thalmor certainly achieved one of their long-term goals by sowing lasting bitterness between Hammerfell and the Empire. In the end, the heroic Red Guards fought the Aldmeri Dominion to a standstill. Although the war lasted for 5 more years and left southern Hammerfell devastated, the Red Guards say that this proves that the White Gold Concordat was unnecessary, and that if Titus II had kept his nerve, the Aldmeri could have been truly defeated by the combined forces of Hammerfell and the rest of the Empire. The truth of that assertion can, of course, never be known. But the Red Guards should not forget the great sacrifice of Imperial blood, Breton, Nord, and Cyrodiilic, at the Battle of the Red Ring that weakened the Dominion enough to allow the eventual Second Treaty of Stros-Mackay in 4E 180 and the withdrawal of Aldmeri forces from Hammerfell. There can be no doubt that the current peace cannot last forever. The Thalmor take the long view, as is proved by the sequence of events leading up to the Great War. All those who value freedom over tyranny can only hope that before it is too late, Hammerfell and the Empire will be reconciled and stand united against the Thalmor threat. Otherwise, any hope to stem the tide of Thalmor rule over all of Tamriel is dimmed.
To the unutterable sorceries of the Hive. The legend of Thorn is bound to the rise and fall of Drudgeon Yor, a guardian whose name is remembered with disgust and shame. The weapon was thought destroyed, but rumors of its existence still haunt the wild.